What's up, Rapport family? We are back with another great edition of Building Rapport. I'm live here with Coach Bruce Pearl, coach of Auburn Basketball, to talk a little bit about the season. Let's jump right in here, Coach. You guys started off with a good game offensively, but you lost to Baylor. It seemed like you learned a lot from that game, and it's propelled you forward to a couple wins. Can you talk about what losing a game like that means so early in the season?
Well, Mike, great to be with you. It was disappointing, but we played a lot of good basketball in that game against Baylor. We did a lot of good things offensively for as early in the season as it was. I thought our first half defense was really good. We got hurt on the boards, and we stopped making shots the last and executed the last 4 or 5 minutes of that game. And so that was disappointing. But it gave us something to build on. We knew, okay, we got enough to have a competitive season. We thought we did anyways, but let's not let that define our season. Let's continue to build on it. See, a good loss on a neutral site and a close loss like that is not going to hurt our NCAA tournament resume, and that's what the whole thing's all about. Your NCAA tournament resume plus building and getting exposed to put yourself in a team where you can compete for championships, come January.
You put yourself in a position where championships are what's expected now here at Auburn. The makeup of this team is different from last year's. You lost a first-round draft pick. You've been losing first-round draft picks for a few years now. Can you talk about the challenge of having to replace your best player every single year and try to find cohesion in a new unit?
Yeah, it's easier to get something going than it is to keep it going. I just think that's true in life. I think it's true in business, and it's true in basketball. So, losing guys like Walker Kessler or Jabari Smith or Sharif Cooper or J.T. Thor or Isaac Okoro, Chumo Kiki, Jared Harper, but that's just what we do. But what those guys laid was a groundwork for the future of what is now Auburn basketball. Basically, we lost our starting backcourt from a year ago. Wendell Green and Al Flanagan, Zeb Jasper were all our starting guards. And so, I always say it's a guard's game. So bringing in, right now at point guard, we've got a freshman and a sophomore in Aden Holloway and Trey Donaldson. KD returns at the 2 guard, but Denver Jones is a new player. Chris Moore has played a lot of basketball for us, but has never started. He's starting now. And of course, Chad Baker is a brand new player. So lots of new pieces that I think have worked really hard to try to figure out how to play well together.
Coach, you guys took a trip to Israel last year, and the players talked about how profound the experience was for them to be able to go over and absorb that. This year, with a brand new squad, what kind of things have you guys done to try to create team chemistry? We had a chance to sit down with Chaney, Janai, and Leo around the fire and talk about it. And I was taken back by the rapport that Chaney has built with his new teammates so quickly.
Yeah.
What kind of things are you guys doing to build team chemistry?
I think so much of that is about the players and the kind of players that you bring in. So you bring in to this team Aden Holloway, Denver Jones, Chad Baker, Chaney Johnson, AD. You bring in 5 new guys that are really good guys, that are guys you're going to want to be friends with for the rest of your life, that are going to want to work really hard. They want to be great themselves, but not at the expense of the team. And so then once you bring in that quality of a student athlete and person, it's up to the players to then spend time together. So like one of the things that we did, for example, in the summertime is we made everybody eat breakfast together every morning in the summertime. And they couldn't just get their stuff to go. So they had to go to the wellness kitchen, and they had to sit down, and then we talked about who don't you know on the team. We kind of made those guys go together and go have a lunch or dinner together, get to know each other, ask each other questions, so on and so forth. We also have a team pastor, and Pastor Jeremy does an amazing job letting the guys kind of get involved and open up and tell their life story. So the guys get to hear about somebody's family and where they're come from, what their goals and dreams are, where their faith is. We go do stuff like go down to the lake and jump in the pool and get on the jet skis, so on and so forth. And you can only go on a foreign trip once every 4 years. But I guess the last thing would be, all right, look at my staff. Okay, my coaching staff are my best friends in life. I've got some other great friends here at Auburn for sure. My staff is amongst my best friends in my life. My players see that, and they see the way my staff interacts with one another. And then as a result, I think they just have grown to come together.
Coach Corey Williams is a part of that. Now we had a chance to talk to him in the preseason. Just a great guy, man of faith, believes strongly in mentoring and developing kids. Your son has obviously followed in your footsteps here, and he's become such an ingrained part of the coaching culture of this team. You talked about setting examples. You got some new kids that I want to talk about setting examples for, in Denver and Chaney and Chad, and the young guy, Aden, who maybe your next early departure based on what we've seen early. What was the message to those guys coming in about what Auburn basketball is?
Yeah, well, first of all, it goes back to the staff. Who do you surround yourself with? So bringing in a guy like Corey Williams, a man of faith, a father, a teacher, a great role model, played in the NBA and has been places where the players want to be. That's bringing guys like that to coach your basketball team. That sends messages, obviously, to your players. And of course, that's true with my associate coach, Stephen Pearl. He's got a brilliant basketball mind. He's ready to take my job when I'm done with it. Ira Bowman is one of the most valuable assistant coaches in the entire country because of what he does as an individual development guy and as a teacher and as a recruiter. Mike Burgermaster and Chad Pruitt both move up into coaching positions, and so many people went outside and hired new coaches when we got two more guys. I hired guys that were from in that were right and ready, had great minds themselves, understood our system, just made us better. That's how you develop depth on a staff. That's how you develop depth on a team, by playing. Everybody talks about the fact that we play 10 guys. Well, everybody gets 13 scholarships. In fact, I'm only using 12. If they decide that they only want to play 7 and keep 7 on the bench, that's up to them. I play 10 double-digit minutes. I always have my whole career. That's how you develop chemistry. That's how you develop depth. Aden has caught on really quickly.
He's been amazing.
He works really, really hard. People that, again, one of the biggest things that get lost in talent is how hard kids with talent work. Like, nobody worked harder than Jabari Smith or Walker Kessler, and they got there. Nobody works harder than Aden Holloway. And in addition to his talent and his gift, he's obviously a brilliant shooter and scorer. Worked really hard defensively to get better, still is. Denver Jones goes from mid-major his whole life to now he's finally in the SEC, just like Chaney Johnson coming out of Division II. Hungry, humble, belong at this level, just finally getting here, and so excited about that opportunity. AD's been really great in practice. He's got a chance to be a good player for us in the future, but he knew coming in he was going to be behind Dylan Caldwell and Janai Broom. And then Chad Baker, the last new guy. He's got it. He's got real talent. He's got real ability. He's got a real feel. He's got stuff that you can't teach. And he's done a really nice job fitting in. He could easily be starting on this basketball team. But he knows he's going to play, and he knows I'm going to put him in position to be successful, and he knows I trust him.
Well, when we talked in the preseason, you mentioned that this would be the greatest balance of minutes that you've had on any team you've ever coached. Talk about a guy like Jalen Williams, who may have to adjust to a new role this year with all the new players coming in and getting buy-in from him to do what's being asked to help this team win.
Well, here's the good news. The good news is when we go to our bench, we don't drop off. Here's the bad news. When we go to our bench, we don't drop off, which means our starting 5 may not be, as good as a lot of starting 5s in the SEC. Okay? Because if there was great separation, they'd be playing 30 minutes and the bench would be playing 20. But there's not great separation, which could either be good or bad, and we're going to find out. As this season goes on, we're going to find out. Is that a good thing or not a good thing? And I'm not, all I can tell you is, like for example, Jalen Williams, if he's out there 22 minutes versus 26 or 7 last year, whatever it would be, that's because he's earned those 22. Because Chaney Johnson's earned the 18, whatever it is. And so we let it play out throughout the season. It lets us withstand injury, foul trouble, and things along those lines. And look, as long as we just continue to get better, get excited about playing every game, what we do works when we fly around. When we don't fly around, what we do does not work.
Coach, I want to finish talking about redemption. you were a guy who was given a chance to come here at Auburn and succeed. The resources were put behind you. The time was given. Coach Hugh Freeze is in his first season as head coach here at Auburn. I had an awesome moment leaving a press conference about a week or two ago where you were coming in and Coach Hugh Freeze says, Bruce Pearl is the greatest person I've ever known that's ever lived. What kind of conversations have you had with him? In his opening press conference, he asked the Auburn family for an opportunity to earn their trust. You've done that here. What advice have you given to him about how to earn the...
He's my football coach, and he's now my friend. When Coach Malzahn was here, he was my football coach and he was my friend. I knew how badly Hugh wanted this job. I knew how he had worked his whole life to be at a place like Auburn. I also knew what he inherited, and in the sense that it was as down as any SEC program has ever been down as far as inheriting a team. That's no criticism on the guys, but he had to play 44 new bodies.
Yeah.
Just an amazing task that he got this football team to be competitive and be able to win games in the SEC. But I've also tried to up there publicly remind people about what a tough job this is, and especially when you're looking at Alabama and Georgia being our big rivals. I mean, the two best teams, two of the top 5 teams in all of college football. This is a very difficult job, but it's doable because of our fan base, because of our history and tradition, because of Auburn, and Hugh absolutely knows that. You're right. I came here from Tennessee having lost my job. And having to sit out for a few years. Hugh lost his job at Ole Miss, had to sit out a year or two, whatever that was. And so we both walk around with that, and we both wear that. When you have to understand, and the only way you could understand this is when somebody else tells you this, you think that's what everybody else is thinking. They're not. They're thinking about the body of your work. And that's the thing I had to continue to remind Hugh about. They know you for the body of your work, what you've done your whole career. You made some mistakes, so did I, okay? But for the grace of God, right? And so Hugh came in, he just asked for the grace. And this Auburn family, of course, giving it to him, but it's not what people think about when they think about Hugh Freeze. I think about an unbelievable coach, an unbelievable leader, an unbelievable family man, honest, hardworking, wants to be here, understands what the Auburn Creed is all about, and we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, I'm sure that Hugh appreciates having another head coach on campus that understands how hard a job this is here, and the expectations being super high, what it takes to succeed. You took Auburn to a Final Four. He's going to be looking to take Auburn to what will be the new playoff next year, expanded playoff, and we're looking forward to seeing what both of you accomplish in the future. So I appreciate your time, Coach. Thanks for joining us today. Auburn family, this is your boy Mike G. I'm here with Bruce Pearl. I want to thank him for his time. That's it for another great edition of Building Rapport. If you want more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Report on every social media platform. TW Report on TikTok. We're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.